Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. What a game we had. Napoli knock out Leicester City. The two favorites of this group don't both make it out. Leicester are going to have to play against, whatever team they get in the Conference League. Spartak Moscow manages to qualify first in this group. I mean, guys, I think we need to start this post-match show before I look at the comments, before I say anything, to just have a look at the table, guys. I mean, who would have thought that coming into, this Europa League, when the groups came out, who would have thought Spartak Moscow, they were the team that was probably the least strong out of them all. Legia ended up having quite a bad season. They're pretty much getting relegated in Poland right now. But Spartak coming out first. Now, some of you might think, why are Spartak first, even if their goal difference is much less than Napoli's? That's because they beat, in the head-to-head, they're better than us. We gave them the majority of their points, which is quite annoying. And I mean, we almost got that first spot, and Spartak were so close to finishing third up until the 98th minute of their match, because believe it or not, there was a penalty in the 97th minute awarded to Legia. They could have tied the game, and instead they missed the penalty, where it got saved by Spartak Moscow. And you know what? If you save... Yes, Legia has Legia got 6 points. Do I have to change that? Let's change that. Yes, I think they do have 6 points. You're right for... You're right. So I'm just going to put a big 6 in there. And there we go. 6 points. Another piece of quick editing by myself. There. You can read that. Let me change the color, because otherwise you won't be able to read that. I'll put it in pink. There we go. 6 points for Legia, and they get eliminated. Leicester go to the Conference League. Spartak go straight to the next round, whereas Napoli, so this is how it works, guys. Napoli will have to go and play against a Champions League team. The third place Champions League team. So, there's teams out there like Dortmund, like Barcelona. So that's going to be interesting. And I think what I'm going to do in the next few days is just make a separate video entirely about who we might get, how the Europa League works, because it is a bit different from what we've seen before in past years. And, for those of you that don't follow me on Twitter, for some reason, but I posted a tweet about what teams are left in the Europa League so far, and considering the ones that came down from the Champions League, and it's an absolutely unreal amount of teams that are super high quality. Now, some of you might say Barcelona is not super high quality anymore, but I mean, to be in a tournament and potentially win it, and you can say we had teams like Leicester, we had teams like Barcelona, we had teams that are doing quite well in their championships. We've got, for example, West Ham is doing pretty well in England. They're sitting comfortably in the Champions League spot. They beat Chelsea on the weekend. So we've got quality team. ID Beats is saying, Dom, why is your video in negative? Evil Dom Bila. I don't think my video is in negative. I don't think that's the case. But maybe that's something wrong. But if anyone's having that issue with my video, let me know. But let's take a look at some of the comments, guys. Plenty of comments about the game. Absolutely unreal. This is why I love the Europa League. I love just knockout tournaments. And I know this wasn't technically a knockout game, but it was. And both games in the group were knockout games, because you had, any result would have changed the order, and then based on the order of the group, it would have then affected, whether a team would be knocked out. So essentially, we came into the game today, and it was a knockout game. It was winner takes all, or at the very least, winner takes second. But you knew that if you lost the game, you had a very high chance of either going to the Conference League or getting knocked out. So not great to, not an easy way to, go into a game with 7 injuries and all that. And you know what? Before I take any comments, I think... Well, actually, let me take some comments, because some of them are really nice. So Barone04 is saying Petagna is a 7 today. I do agree with that, and you'll see it in my player review. SJ saying with Chucky injured, Politano better get some form back. If not, play Elmas and Nunes on the wings until Insigne is back. Listen, I think Malcuit had an absolutely amazing game. Not only that, but he had an incredible game on the weekend as well against Atalanta. And hear me out. But Malcuit, I think, playing in that right wing position right now is our best option, because he gives us that extra stability. We sometimes maybe are a bit too exposed, and with Di Lorenzo playing a lot of games, I think it really helps having Malcuit, who's more defensive minded, be out in the back. And as Cleto is saying, Malcuit donating to the homeless people this week. Honestly, he's had such a great, few days. It all started off with me giving him a 10 on the show a few like 10 days ago, and from then, like, his confidence has gone like through the roof, and he's been putting in the performances. Vincenzo Bertillo saying doesn't look bad at all, but could be your frames per second rate causing the stroke effect. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. Now, I think Vincenzo knows what he's talking about, because he is a pro in this, but I do have to look at that. So I might be filming in the wrong frames per second. And that's because I still need to properly set up my webcam, which I need to do. But I got a new webcam, so I'm still experimenting with it. I'm sorry if some of you have negative experience with it, but I will get that sorted. This should be better than the one I was using through my computer up until now. Maximus is saying Zambo, Fabian Insigne on the bench for Empoli, but didn't hear Osimhen. Another month for him. Yeah, Osimhen got back in training, and then the other guys should be at least on the bench. Daniel Bowen with the €10 donation. He's in the house today. Dom, that storm was crazy. When will we play in Europa League next? When is the UEL draw? Imagine getting Dortmund or Barca. So we will be playing in February. The team that finished first, so in this case Spartak, they won't be playing until March. So that's a bit annoying. You know what? You've got to play against the best teams at some point. If it's Barca or Dortmund at some point, so be it. Obviously, I would rather not. Get them right off the bat. It'd be nice having a Barcelona or a Dortmund in the final. It would be nice having it in the semi-final. I think, why make our road to the final any harder than it needs to be? There's plenty of teams that came down from the Champions League that are easier to play against than those two. And to some extent, none of them are going to be easy, obviously. But why make it even harder and play against Haaland, for example? That's not something I want to do now. Let's save it for later. It's a bit more interesting that way, to play a final or semi-final against them. SJ saying, I'd face Barca over Dortmund any day. Bellingham is a monster. Yeah, I mean, Bellingham and Haaland are absolutely unreal players. Let's see. Anthony Navarro is also in the chat, and he's saying Dem is just out of shape, I think. Otherwise, our midfield would have been better. Zielinski really prefers the cam roll. You can tell. I thought Zielinski had an amazing game today. I thought he was all over the place in midfield. He was fantastic, crucial for Napoli's second goal, where he dribbles past a few Leicester players, sends the ball over to Petagna, and Petagna squares it for Elmas. I thought he was fantastic in that role today, and Zielinski is so talented. He can play anywhere in that midfield, and he had played in that position in midfield for quite a while a few years ago, at the start of Gattuso's era. So yeah, lots of comments, guys. Lots of comments. Struggling to keep up with the chat. I think we could go to the formation, the player ratings, before we even talk about the analysis of the game, because, it's just such a feel-good moment right now of Napoli getting past this group. It wasn't at all something that was guaranteed. It was something that we had to fight for. We almost let it slip away when Leicester drew the game, and then for us to come back after the second half in torrential rain to go and win was absolutely unreal from this group of players who was struggling so much with injuries. I mean, just take a look at the bench. We only had 3 players that we could bring on. Politano didn't feature. That's because he's not really fit yet, coming back from COVID, and I think he needed the rest after making 2 appearances in Serie A recently. So this was our limited squad today. Lots of absences. I mean, for people who maybe don't follow Napoli as much, I mean, we had Koulibaly, Anguissa, Fabian, Insigne, Osimhen all out. Halfway through, Lozano goes out. I mean, it was absolutely unreal the amount of bad luck that we had. But this team played. This team keeps playing. And guys, make sure you are smashing that like button. There are half of you that did it. The other half needs to step it up, guys. But because the analysis is coming. There's the whole tactical analysis, and if you don't smash that like button, then we're not going to be happy during that analysis. SJ saying Manolas finally returns after we spoke about him a lot last stream. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk a lot about Manolas because I'm in the middle of something. But I don't want to say too much because if I don't deliver on it, then it's going to be disappointing. But I think I'm on to something pretty special with Manolas. So, yeah, let's just keep it at that, all right? But watch this space. Watch this space. Potentially, it will happen. If I can find some. Nah, you know what? I'll just stop talking. I'm saying too much. But anyways, these are the player ratings, and the best players on the field today were by far Zielinski, Elmas, and Petagna, and it's no coincidence that they are the ones that were instrumental in the goals, especially the second and third goal. Oh man, the comments, I'll just ignore them because this is like a life lesson. Never promise something. Just deliver it. Don't say you're gonna do something, and then you risk looking like an idiot when if things don't work out. It's just better to just surprise people. So I think I've said a bit too much. Keep your expectations low because I'm trying, but it is what it is. The surprise could not happen potentially. So just pretend like you didn't hear the last 5 minutes of me speaking about Manolas. Anyways, I am so bad at keeping secrets. Anyways, Marvolo22 is saying, Petagna's such a good linker. He always good in secure the ball by his strength and good passes as well. Petagna is not a number 9 that will score you goals. And as I tweeted about 2 weeks ago, he is something that is instrumental if you have players that play alongside him, because he loves to pass the ball. So if you have players like Unas and Elmas that play very close to Petagna, then it works. If you leave Petagna by himself, it doesn't work because he needs people to pass the ball to. That's his strength. Fabrizio Landria, we won a big match. Petagna, Zielinski, and Elmas top. Fabrizio, ciao. I 100% agree with you. I thought they were special today. And especially Petagna at the end of the match. Credit to Spalletti, who did not substitute him. He kept Petagna on, and he won us so many fouls that helped the team, because the team was sitting deep, and Petagna helped us get back on top. So let's go into the, and everybody else played great. I said Malcuit. I think when Malcuit came on, I hope Lozano's okay. I think he just lost a tooth. But when Malcuit came on, the team looked better. And it's not because of Lozano being bad. It's just because I think defensively, on the right-hand side, we were suffering a lot. And, Leicester had some good players. They have Vardy. They have Barnes. And they were pushing down their left side, our right side. And Malcuit there just gave us a bit more cover, because Malcuit's more defensive-minded. EJ Wise with the $9.99 donation. Thank you, man, for supporting the channel. It wouldn't be a proper stream without a donation from me. As always, so supportive. You guys are amazing. Spalletti sliding on the pitch towards the players was a great moment. Make sure you're all smashing that like button. You know what? I missed that Spalletti moment because I switched over to the Legia game because there was a penalty there. So it was unreal. And EJ Wise has to go. Enjoy the stream, guys. I gotta go, he says. So he just came and donated, said his thing, and left. I wish you were to stay, man. But yeah, thank you for supporting the channel and for stopping by, man. But let's go into the analysis of the game. And immediately, guys, from the jump, Unas provided for Napoli. This goal is very difficult because he does a step over to give himself some space, but he's not got a lot of space to work with because right in front of him there's another Leicester defender, and on his weak foot he finds the corner. But not only that, he puts enough power on it to beat Schmeichel, and he makes it go through the legs of the Leicester City defender. So an incredible goal by Unas, so underrated, but this guy is a baller. So yeah. Then, Napoli have an opportunity a few minutes later to score. They cross the ball. It goes to Petagna, and there's a misunderstanding between Petagna and Di Lorenzo here. Di Lorenzo stops his run. Petagna is laying it off for him, but Di Lorenzo kind of stops, maybe thinks that Petagna's going to go and head the ball towards goal. I think Petagna makes the right call here in passing it because he is quite far away from goal to header that in. I don't think the ball in the box had too much power for him to guide it past Schmeichel. I think he makes the right call. But, the ball, because it's wet on the ground, the ball skids away from Di Lorenzo. And Di Lorenzo, as I said, kind of stops his run. So the ball goes past him. But it was a very, very selfish thing for Petagna to do that. And it set the tone for what he's going to do in the rest of the game. Enjoy the rest of the stream, guys. I got to go. If COVID wasn't taking such a toll, I would. I got to go rest of it. Oh, man. Get better, EJ, man. Get better. I hope you feel well, man. Get some rest. Get some good food in you, man. Stay warm, and yeah, man. Stay safe. Guys, be careful out there. Be careful. In general, be careful. I don't want any of you guys to get anything. You guys are my boys and girls. There's more boys than girls in these things, but you guys are my boys, and I want you guys to be good and healthy. So Navin Baleko saying, so what happens now? What's the playoffs in UEFA Europa League? So the playoffs are us against one of the teams that came down from the Champions League. Maximus1318 is saying, my dogs and I get relegated to my garage to watch and listen when the girl and her friends are here, which us all the time in my own house. Stay single. What? Oh man, you guys need to use punctuation. That's a whole novel that you wrote. Let me break this down. Thank you for the donation. And Let me see. So my dogs and I get relegated to my garage to what? Okay, so basically, your girl had friends over and she put you in the garage. You know what? That's a win for me. That's a win. You stay with your dogs. You go in the garage and watch Napoli. That's a win for me, rather than having to spend time with her friends. I see that as a complete win, my friend. Hamza Mir is saying Napoli have depth. You guys can seriously win the treble. That's a very good point, Hamza. I mean, when the 7 or so starters that are missing come back, that's gonna be when Napoli then will be back at its best. And we saw what Napoli is capable of when they're back at their best, with Osimhen, Koulibaly, Insigne, Fabian, Anguissa. Lobotka was also injured. Anthony is saying, Max, if your girl doesn't like watching Napoli with you, she ain't right for you. And to that, I've got to agree. I've got to agree. You gotta, yeah, man. Max, don't let your girlfriend stop you from finding your wife. Gotta be someone that appreciates Napoli. Got to be. Anthony Giampaolo saying, give our fearless leader Dom a like, guys. Yeah, make sure you are smashing the like button if you guys are liking the video. Thanks for defending punctuation, Dom, says Romanchka. 100%, guys. You have to make sure you use punctuation when you comment, because I have no idea what you guys are trying to say at times, and it helps. It helps, man. Punctuation is a thing that we learn. Use it, so Antonio Tonti saying Spalletti is a great tactician. Forza Napoli sempre. Yeah, let me go back to the player ratings. I gave Spalletti an 8 because, guys, you have to understand, we've not won many games recently, right? We've only won against Lazio in the last 4 or 5 games, but every other game, Inter, Sassuolo, Atalanta, we've dealt with a series of injuries, and in all those games that we lost or drew, we gave every single one of those teams a good fight. There was not one game where you're thinking, ooh, that, we totally switched off. As in, okay, there were periods where we switched off, where we conceded 1 or 2 goals, but, in general, throughout the game, we've been still able to give them a fight, even with all the injuries. And that's credit to Spalletti. He's kept every single person on their toes. I mean, guys, we have players like Malquit and even Unas, even Elmas, Petagna himself today. Guys, these are players that they were nowhere last year. They were absolutely nowhere. They were either sent out on loan because they weren't useful to us, or they would sit on the bench. And now with Spalletti, these guys are playing a fundamental role in Napoli's season. I mean, just take a look at Rahmani as well. Rahmani last year, he was on the bench for 6-7 months, and now he's a starter every single game. So credit to Spalletti for transforming this team. We really do have a team where everyone can come into the squad and make a good appearance, and not embarrass themselves. And I trust them. Whenever I see a Napoli squad nowadays, the formation comes out, I never think to myself, ooh, why are we picking this guy, or this guy isn't it. I always feel like every single one of them can contribute to the cause. So that is Spalletti's credit, and that's why he gets an 8 today. So let's go into the analysis. So we score our first goal. We had a good chance with Petagna. Then Leicester have a good chance to score. Rahmani is there to block that effort. It does strike his hand, but it was attached to his body, so that's never a penalty. And then a moment of magic from Zielinski sends Petagna through on goal. Leicester City tried to play an offside with some of their players, but their left back is keeping Petagna well onside, in case anyone was wondering. But the key point here, that the tactical genius of Spalletti, is that he kept Elmas and Unas very close to Petagna in support. It's what I was saying before about how Petagna needs people that are playing as number 10s behind him. The more, the better, because for two reasons. One, if he receives the ball, he can lay it off to them. And then, Petagna's, since he's so big, people gravitate towards him. Not because he has a stronger force of gravity necessarily. I mean, technically he does because he's bigger. But, because he's big, defenders want to stay close to him. In this case, they don't. But generally speaking, and he just sort of focuses everybody's attention on him. And then you've got these number 10s, these small guys, Elmas and Unas, that can just run around the back of them. And, it causes havoc in the defense. Not only that, but they allow Petagna to, Petagna's a good passer of the ball. He's very good at passing. They allow Petagna, if he receives the ball here, he could easily square it off to someone. They allow him to play to his strengths. I mean, Petagna's strength is not scoring, apart from headers. Petagna's strength is actually finding that final pass. He's one of the masters at that. He's actually very similar to a player like Pandev in that regards, where his main strength is the final pass. And we also have Lozano and, in this case, Mario Rui that stay very wide to give Napoli that depth, because the other two guys are coming in much closer. And, Petagna squares it off very selflessly to Elmas in support. I mean, this was not a hard pass at all to do. So I wouldn't say this is proof of him being a great assist man in terms of finding the right pass, because this was easy. But I mean, that's how his brain works. He wants to find the pass. That's what he's more comfortable with, rather than going out and shooting. So him playing with players like Unas and Elmas that make runs into the box on around him is really good. And that's, I think, how we should be playing with Petagna, not leaving him completely alone. So that's something that we need to learn from. Maximus in the chat is still asking all of us, or he's still saying that we should all be single, so that he can, because that way he can, because apparently that's the only way to enjoy Napoli games. Paul Vives Escobar. We got Escobar in the house, which is always interesting. Spalletti turning ex-players like Malcuit into players. Gulam turning into prime Paolo Maldini soon. Yeah, Gulam is the only player that I think hasn't been able to fully express himself yet, but there's some things where fundamentally the coach can't do anything about, because Gulam has a serious physical issue with his injury to his knee. That's, no amount of coaching can help with that. I think that's purely a physical thing, whereas the other guys, I mean, physically they're fine. Malcuit is fine, Elmas is fine, Unas is fine. It was just a matter of getting them into the squad rotations, getting them, ready at any point in time to come in and make a difference. And that's all mental, I think. Francesco Pinelli saying, let's hope so, Paul. I'd love to see Gulam make a comeback, although I believe it's too late for that, unfortunately. Yeah, I think, if we don't, if he doesn't make a comeback, by the time the transfer window opens in a few weeks, I think Napoli seriously need to consider buying a left back, because right now we only have Mario Rui and the very young Zanoli, who is adapted in that position. So, we gave Gulam 5 or 6 months. I think it's time to pull the plug on that option if he doesn't deliver within the next 3 or 4 weeks. Panda's main strengths were passing and hitting the crossbar 3 meters away from the goal, says Francesco Pinelli. Look, I love Pandev. He's such an amazing player. I'm a new fan from Connecticut, and your analysis helps me understand the game so much better, says IPT421. Welcome, IPT421. Always welcoming new fans, and hopefully these insights on how the players move and how the team chemistry is actually does help, and you guys actually do love these things. So let's move on with the Leicester's first goal, and this was quite unlucky. So A lot of the times people look at the result or they're commenting on the game and they say things like, oh, Napoli blew a 2-0 lead. Well, it's not like Leicester outplayed us. I mean, this was a free kick, which Elmas didn't clear very well, and then Leicester City got the rebound. This could have happened when you're 0-0, when you're 2-0, when you're losing. Like, these things you can't control. It's got nothing to do with how well or badly Napoli prepare a game, with how they are mentally. A lot of people on Twitter were already starting to say mentally this team isn't strong. There's nothing mental about miscontrolling a pass or a clearance because of torrential rain coming down. I'm sure that ball was skidding around everywhere, and it's got nothing to do with the team's mentality. I thought the team's mentality has been on point this year. I mean, every single time we've been playing good football, we've had massive injuries, and we've been taking games to the opposition, and we've been scoring goals, and all the goals that we concede are either amazing goals from the other team or, quite lucky, in my opinion. And this was quite lucky. The next one was a great goal. The ball comes in, we defended quite well, and then this guy scores the best goal he'll ever score in his career against us. Meret could have done better, but the ball is skidding. He hit it low on the ground. It's hitting water because it's been raining hard, and that's accelerating every single time. It's hard for a goalkeeper to judge the speed of how the ball will arrive to him when it's been raining. So I think Meret could have done better, but so I don't give him that high of a rating in the player reports. I gave him a 6 out of 10, which is average. But there's nothing wrong with Napoli's mentality here. People were saying at halftime how we're blowing things, and it's just like that's not true. That's not true. These are episodes. It's got nothing to do with Napoli's mentality. Guys, make sure you are smashing the like button if you are liking the analysis. Daniel Bonus saying, how does everyone feel about chances of beating Milan? I will be there and need some positivity. Let's go, Daniel, man. I think we've got great chances. I saw Milan lose against Sassuolo. For example, take Milan's game against Sassuolo, where they lost 3-1 against them. You could say that in that game, Milan had absolutely lost control of that game. They were flat. They got exposed. And, I've never quite seen that from Napoli this season. We've conceded goals. We've had 5 or 10 minutes, but we've never been dominated for 90 minutes in a game. We've never not showed up at all. We've had small periods, but I see other teams like Milan collapsing at times. So potentially there's scope for us to do well over there. So yeah, I think it's gonna go well. And yeah, make sure you enjoy it, man. The San Siro is a crazy stadium, which I'd love to go to one day. And Napoli were playing well. That's the other thing. It's not just defensively. As I said, the game was 2-2. People were complaining all over social media about our mentality going down, but Napoli kept playing the same way that gave us the first 2 goals, the way that we know how to play, vertical passing, making runs in between defenders. Mairo Rui, in this case, coming in from the left to the center, picking out a pass for Unas. This time it was a little too long, but the approach and mentality was still there. And then, the unfortunate thing happened with Lozano breaking a tooth, or the tooth coming off. We don't know for sure, but yeah, man, I hope he's okay. Like this kid, man, he's so unlucky with these facial injuries. I mean, he got hurt pretty bad in the summer with Mexico, and now this. And I know some people will say that he tripped on himself and fell into the guy's leg, which got him injured, and it's proof of Lozano not being able to run with the ball, which to some extent might be true. As in, I've never thought Lozano was that good at controlling the ball, running with it. I think he's good at running fast in one direction, but as soon as you've got, yeah, I don't want to criticize him too much, but I just hope he gets better. I'll just leave it at that. It's safety and his health is the first thing. I do wonder what he was trying to do in that situation. He just ran straight into someone, had no control of the ball, which happens a bit. But he's a great player. He's got his strengths. He needs to find his form again. He needs to find his feet again this season. Last season he saved us so many times, and he just needs to get that spark back, really. Vincenzo Bertillo is saying, Lozano, fractured nose and broken tooth at the very least, unfortunately. Damn, that sounds pretty bad. Yeah, man, I hope he's okay. And then, Napoli come back from the break. So we put on Malqui. We come back from the break. Unas, right from the get-go, has an opportunity. Schmeichel makes a really good save at his near post. But, just from this screenshot, you can tell that Napoli is there to try to win the game, because within 30 seconds, we get a chance. We've got 4 or 5 players in the box. Mairo Rui coming in to support. Elmas, Petagna, Malquit is there as well. So yeah, everyone is keen on getting forward. And then this is how we score the third goal. So we've got, once again, Zielinski, who was captain today, at the center of everything, switching the play over from his position to Malquit. And we saw how we did this playing against Lazio, but it was Fabian Ruiz at the time that was switching the play that way. So Napoli switched the play, and at that point, it's the signal for everyone to run into the space. We've got Di Lorenzo coming in from behind. Elmas pushes up, Petagna pushes up, and Malquit finds the pass for Di Lorenzo. Di Lorenzo picks out Elmas, but this is what I'm talking about. Everyone is so focused on Petagna. You can see Johnny Evans really tight on Petagna that it's almost like people expect either Petagna's going to get the ball or the defender next to him is going to get the ball, because he's the target man, right? So everyone around Petagna, all the other defenders, that are around Petagna but not marking him, are just a bit more relaxed, because no one expects the ball not to go to Petagna, right? Because he's the target man. But essentially, that's exactly what happens. Petagna misses the ball, and so it does go to Elmas. And in this case, Barnes is not close enough to Elmas because he's not expecting Petagna not to get the ball. That's how important Petagna is, So it's these small, maybe psychological things. Can we say psychological? It's these great psychological things that play into the minds of defenders when you've got a big number 9, which helps everybody else find space around them. So Elmas is free. He gets the ball, dribbles past Barnes, and then sends it across Schmeichel to score the winning goal, which is great for me, because it means I don't have to change the cover on my thumbnail, because I put Elmas there this morning and he scored 2 goals, which is fantastic for me. It's very fitting. I should have probably put some money on that. Francesco Pinelli saying, come on, none of us like those comments of his, but let's not wish injuries on anyone. I agree with Francesco. Chucky's a winger who makes run behind defenses and finishes chances, not a dribbler like Insigne and Politano. Exactly, AT. He's very good at coming in the far post right on time. He's amazing at coming in at the end of crosses. And he's very good at dribbling. He's very good at... It's very strange. He's very good at dribbling when there's a bit of space. But I don't understand him when he tries to dribble centrally. When he's on the right and he takes the ball central towards where it's crowded, because he just doesn't have that kind of ball control. He needs to stay wide. But, yeah, he went central, lost control of the ball, and ran straight into someone, which is unfortunate for Lozano. But I do wish him a speedy recovery. Such an unlucky guy with his facial injuries. And then I couldn't manage to screenshot what happened in this scenario here, but you can see from Mertens' reaction what he thought of it. This was the time when Di Lorenzo was in his own corner flag and passes a ball, goes right across the field, and Maddison intercepts it. Luckily, it's on his weaker right foot, and he hits the post, but this was very close to Leicester coming back at 3-3. I don't know what Di Lorenzo was thinking there. Now that I think back on it, he probably deserves half a point less for that mistake, and it's a mistake that we've seen him do against Inter. I'm not sure how many of you guys remember the live I did against Inter, but it was leading up to Inter's goal, how we kept doing these cross-field passes, and one of those was Di Lorenzo's, which went to Barella, and Barella had a shot which was saved by Ospina. But it was a very similar situation here. Di Lorenzo, I'm not really sure what he was trying to do on his weaker left foot there. But, Elmas and Zielinski were incredible today. They linked up well. At this point, Napoli were bringing less people forward, and we were playing more on the counterattack. Here he had a really good opportunity to score. I think he tried dribbling a bit too much and got intercepted. And then, we had 20 minutes where we were sitting really deep. Really, really deep. And I thought, when I saw this, I thought, right, it's not ideal because our defense wasn't perfectly aligned, our back four. So I thought, oh God, this is not going to look good. Why are Mario and Juan Jesus, a few meters behind Rahmani? But what I think saved us was the fact that Leicester didn't bring more players forward. I think they were quite worried about receiving the fourth goal from Napoli because that would have been them just done. So they were quite reserved. They didn't go all out because you can see here they've got the guy on the ball and then three players behind Petagna and Mertens, but you've also got their number 8, which is not really in a position where I would want him to be if I was a Leicester fan. I'd want him to get a bit more central in between Zielinski and Elmas, and that would be a good place for him to receive the ball, because what Leicester could do in this situation is pass the ball down to the guy in between Mertens and Petagna, and then if that number 8 was more in the middle, that guy could pass it to the number 8, and all of a sudden you've gone in between the lines quite easily, whereas he stayed quite wide, which I'm not really sure why. But that was, I think, what saved Napoli, the fact that Leicester didn't go all out on us, and maybe their positioning wasn't perfect when they were attacking. That saved us, but Leicester did have several good chances. This was a really good opportunity that they had. It was a 1-2 that the ball fell to the guy that scored the second goal, but he slipped and the ball went wide, and then they had a really good one with Vardy. But I think overall in the last 5 minutes, I think Napoli sorted themselves out. They had a better shape defensively. We had 2 guys on Vardy at all times. Manolas came on and helped out. And as I said, I don't think Leicester played in between the lines as much. I think, in the previous occasion where they did that 1-2, that was quite good and that put us in trouble. But other than that, I don't think they did enough to play in between the spaces that we created. Like you can see there's quite a big space in between Zielinski and Juan Jesus there that they didn't exploit. And so, as I said, I think that really saved us. But credit also to guys like Mairo Rui making 2 very good interceptions towards the end. Mairo Rui has been on it this year. Last year he was losing concentration in key moments, especially towards the end, and now he's just on it this season, which is why he's getting such good player ratings. Malquit had a chance to then score for us on the counter. Schmeichel just puts his hands up out of desperation and skims his hand, and it goes over the bar. But I mean, Malquit could have had a goal today, which is unreal to think about. Vardy had a good chance at the end, which I was, too agitated to take a screenshot of. And then Petagna had a massive last 10-15 minutes of the game, drawing fouls. He was a one-man team up there in attack. He was absolutely unreal. He took my criticism of him over the weekend and of how I said he didn't work hard enough, and he proved that he can work hard enough, that he absolutely can be a part of this team. So and then this was the key moment. This was the key moment, which wasn't in our game. It was in the Legia Spartak Moscow game. So 95th, 96th minute, they get a penalty for this foul in the box in Legia, where they could have drawn the game. If they had drawn the game, then Spartak would have been third, Napoli first, and Leicester second. But the penalty was saved. It was a pretty good save by the Spartak goalkeeper, actually. And if you're going to finish first in the group and you have a penalty, right, and you save that penalty, I think all in all, you deserve to be first, right? I mean, talk about, I don't know. It's a weird one because it's like they didn't really play that well. But, I mean, when you save a penalty in the final minute, I feel like you deserve to be first. Napoli are obviously a better team. Napoli obviously on paper deserve to be first. We had some unlucky games against Spartak. So maybe deserved is not the right word, but it's almost like romantic for Spartak to be first. You see what I mean? Not deserved, but it's like a fairy tale where you get a penalty against you. If they score, it could be that you are knocked out, but then you save it, and that's the difference between first and third. And that's the beauty of sport. That's the beauty of football, especially because it's so intense for 90 minutes. And, something that happens on the 98th, like, honestly, like, for the sake of football, for the sake of the sport, it's good that they are first after that penalty save. Petagna is ginormous. Petagna, massive quote of the day. Yeah, honestly, Petagna is unreal how I always go between Petagna has been unreal today, 7.5, like against Genoa, here against, I think it was Legia a few weeks ago. I go from like he deserves a 7 or 7.5 to the next week I'll be like he deserves a 4. And I gave him a 4 on the weekend. He is just such a roller coaster. He's, I guess, inconsistent. But as I said, it depends on who's playing around him, because we got to play our players in a condition where they can actually play to their strengths. If we leave Petagna all by himself, he is going to struggle. Petagna works best when he's got players very close to him. We saw it in both the second and third goal. They both happened when players were very close to Petagna, because it's just, we explained it. We don't have to re-talk about it, but it's just the way it works. So, and so as Vincenzo was saying, is much better when not isolated. So that is the analysis of the game and a little bit of a sneak into what happened in the other games. I mean, now we've got this as the group standing, a bit edited because I had accidentally left a 4 on Legia, 6. So we've talked about this. We're going to play against some Champions League teams or teams that came down from the Champions League. It's quite, intense because you could get a Dortmund, but there's other teams which are totally fine. And I think Napoli could easily beat them. But we don't have to worry about this until February. So and it's a feel-good thing for us now. And I mean, yeah, it is an extra game that we have to play, or an extra 2 games. But I think this win, especially coming with a bit of a comeback in the rain with injuries, it's going to give us a bit of spark. It's going to give us a feel-good feeling. And I honestly prefer us having this and playing an extra 2 games than us losing this game. And had we lost this game, with what kind of confidence would we have gone and played against Empoli on the weekend? Okay, we lost Lozano, but sometimes you gotta break an egg to make omelet, or break your nose and tooth to get extra confidence. Is that yeah, I just made a thing. Gotta break a tooth to improve the team confidence. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But let's get rid of that 6. So, as I said, 3 games to go, guys. 3 games to go until Christmas. Now, Empoli, we should be getting 3 points. No excuses there. I don't care how good Empoli have been. They have been great. They have been great. But Napoli at home, no matter how many injuries you have, when you're fighting for the title like we are, we have to get 3 points. Because a week later, and thankfully we have a week's rest, a week later we have Milan. And that's going to be massive. We could have Anguissa back, we could have Insigne back, we could have Fabian Ruiz back, maybe Lobotka, maybe not. Definitely not Koulibaly, and definitely not Osimhen. That's a massive game. I'm not saying it's a title decider, but winning keeps us very much in the race. Losing would make people question whether we could win the title. Let's just put it like that. So that's going to be absolutely massive as Petagna, that game. And then we've got Spezia before Christmas, which last Christmas did not go so well for us. We played against Spezia around this time last year and we lost, so let's not underestimate them. They are a worse team this year than last year because they lost their coach Italiano, who I thought was great, and he's been doing very well with Fiorentina. But as I said, there's no easy game, but I really do think that if we can stay fit and recover some players, then no excuses against Spezia on that day. That should be a very, very good one. Now, guys, you'll have to forgive me. You'll have to forgive me for something, but there is a very, 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 very important event, a global event happening on Sunday during Napoli-Empoli, and that is the Formula 1 final race, the Formula 1 Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi. And I follow Formula 1 religiously. It's another one of my passions. As some of you guys know, I'm an automotive engineer, so I'm super into that stuff. I am going to watch the Napoli game. I am also going to be watching at the same time the Formula 1. So, because they happen at the same time, I will need to figure out when to schedule the live. So, it could be the next day, or it could be an hour or so after the game, right? Because I'll need time to edit the things, and there'll be the F1. Plus, if I go live during the F1, no one's going to watch me anyways, because I know you're all going to be watching the race. It's like the most important race of the last decade. So, so I might be a little late. I won't be live 5 minutes after the game like I normally am, but I will be live at some point. I will be watching the game. I will be watching Napoli. I will be analyzing them. This is a massive, massive global event, and I don't want to miss it. I'm just glad it's only Empoli and not, a Napoli-Milan or something, because otherwise then I would probably have to miss it. But having said that, probably Napoli-Empoli is going to have 7 goals, and I'll be struggling to pay attention to both. But yeah, I will try. Danny Baum saying, come on, Verstappen. Yeah, I don't know who to support in that one. I mean, yeah, probably Verstappen. But I just want it to be an exciting race, to be honest. I just can't wait for it. Jason T was saying minimum 7 points expected to finish the year. So you're saying in these next 3 games, 7. Yeah, I would take 7 points. I would take 7 points on one condition if we. That's actually a good one. Yeah, no, I would take 7 points. I would sign up for that. That would mean 2 wins and a draw. I would rather actually win against Milan, so we take away a point from them, and then draw against Spezia or Empoli, rather than draw against Milan and win against the other 2, because we'd be giving Milan a point in that case. So I'd rather. Yeah, I guess I would. I'm going out of focus here. There we go. I'd rather win against Milan, win against one of the other 2, and then draw against the other one if we do have to get 7 points. But obviously I prefer all 9. 6 would be a disappointment either way you look at it, especially if we lose against Milan. That would be a big disappointment. But also if we win against Milan but then lose the next one or the one before, then it would feel like a missed opportunity, so not ideal. Maximus is saying Verstappen, the guy that doesn't really like anyone. I mean, I just want a good race. I just want it to be exciting. And yeah, I mean, the sport is so exciting, guys. Really into it. But yeah, I've been lucky this year that the races haven't coincided too much with the football. But this one is a massive one. It's the last race, tied on points, so I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. But I've been pretty good with you guys this year. I've made adjustments for the last year and a half on my Sundays to make sure that I'm live for every game. So I hope you guys can forgive me for that. Let's go into the press conference, guys, of Spalletti. Let's see what he had to say about this game before we close it off, and everybody then can go have a nice dinner. Some of you are having dinner already and watching me while you have dinner. If that's the case, then let me know what you're making, because maybe that's going to inspire me. Yeah, I'd love to know what you guys are having for dinner. Let's see. A few people spoke in the conference. Petagna, Elmas, obviously Spalletti. Let's go with Petagna. I want to hear what Petagna has to say. So I know we've got Spalletti's head in there, but Petagna had a little bit to say first. So he's saying, what I care about is that we passed the group. We had some very big absences today, but we really had a lot of desire to show that we will pass this group, even though I wasn't personally involved in the score sheet. They ask him, what sort of season are you living? And he's saying, we're a very competitive squad. We have so many strong players, and right now we're missing some fundamental ones. Whoever comes in and steps up needs to be ready. They have to find themselves ready. We work every single day during the week for this. We have to also follow the instructions of our coach, and we have to keep doing what we are doing. For us right now, it's important that we progressed, and we hope that we can get a full stadium in the next round. That's another thing. The stadium today was a bit empty, but you have to understand, Europa League has never really appealed to Napoli fans. It's a Thursday. People work. Unlike other countries, like for example in the UK, people finish work at 5. In Italy, and like the shops close at 5, unless you're like in a mall, but like the shops close at 5, unless you're in London. But like in like other towns or whatever, like the shops close at 5 or at most at 6, and everybody's free. In Italy, everyone's working until 8:30. Like you can just it's quite normal for people to work until 8:30. These games in the midweek are, it's one thing is for the Champions League to like close your store and go to the game for a Champions League game. One thing is for like a Europa League game, and it was pouring rain. It was pouring rain today. 6 degrees. That's like cold. 6 degrees Celsius for the American fans. So yeah. Daniel Bonson ate mozzarella di bufala dopo while watching. Oh man. Okay, if you are gonna comment something which I cannot buy here in the UK, then don't comment, because I'm gonna get seriously jealous. So Daniel, I'm giving you a yellow card for that. That's oh man, I wish I was having that. Soon. Anyways, Elmas had also something to say before we get to Spalletti. He's saying it was an important night for us because we qualified. I'm happy for the 2 goals, but I'm even more happy for the team that managed to go ahead into the next round. We did a really good, we worked really well, and we demonstrated that we're a good team and we're all ready to play. They asked him about how North Macedonia will play Italy in is it March in the Euro qualifying round for the World Cup, and he's saying, look, that's a very difficult game for us and Italy. Let's hope. He said, let's hope it ends well for both teams, even though that's not possible. So Elmas is not the sharpest guy. But he's a good guy. Just try to, be diplomatic and correct. I mean, what do they expect him to say? He plays for an Italian team. He's not going to say, like, I'm going to destroy you guys, obviously. Like, stupid questions that they ask him. Spalletti was super happy at the end of the match. What did he tell you guys before the game? And Elma says, he said a lot of things, that we're a good team, a strong team, and we have to demonstrate it on the field today, and we did that. They say that, the reporter asked him, you grew a lot recently. Where in the field are you finding, that you play best? And he's saying, wherever the coach puts me, I always try to do my best. Let's hope that we keep doing our best. And let's hope that I keep finding myself ready to play. So Elmas, very diplomatic in his responses. Nothing too controversial, nothing too polarizing. And just saying, like, yeah, I just want to play and be ready to play. Spalletti now. And as Vincenzo says, Elmas is out for that game versus Italy because he had a few too many yellow cards. So Spalletti now at Sky Sports saying, when you concede 2 goals like the ones that we conceded, you're going to have some difficulties. It looked like the game was slipping away from us, that everything was going against us. Instead, we had a really good reaction in the second half. The goals that we conceded, we could have done a lot better in terms of clearing the ball from the area, but they're a good team, and we needed a good reaction. The team showed a lot of character and personality. I have to say, these guys really have anima, like they have soul. Today it was a difficult match, so congrats to the team. Obviously, this is a very difficult situation with the recent results and the injuries that we have. So this victory, is significant. You have a lot of pressure on this team to always be at the top. So winning will help us put a lot of things back together. I am convinced that this game will help us gain even more confidence and help us show our quality in the future. So, winning helps winning. And that's what I said. If we hadn't won today, we would have approached Empoli in a very different manner. We play every 3 games. It's a bit difficult to, keep playing the same people. Politano, I could have put him on, but he didn't feel good after lunch, and so I didn't want to put him on. He's coming back from COVID, and he needs to find his condition once again. I would have put him on, but at least Manolas was able to come on. He, is not at the top. He had to stringere I denti, like he has to bite his teeth to come on and play. Like he has to make sure, I don't know how you translate that. You have to make sure that you are, just rolling your sleeves up and like going to play, even though it's tough for you, because we know that Manolas is not at the top of his fitness, so Spalletti says I only have 3 substitutions, and it was very difficult. It was very difficult. Elmas is an amazing, grit his teeth, says Vincenzo Bertillo. Nice one. Thank you. Elmas is a splendid person, first of all, and then he can adapt to any role. He's always someone that fills the gaps of wherever the team needs it. He's there because he knows how to do everything. If you're in trouble, you put on Elmas and everything keeps spinning. At the end, he was a little upset because of something which wasn't quite right during the game. I think he wanted the 3rd goal, but he was excellent today. He did a game of a really good player, so credit to Elmas. And Spalletti's right, and it goes back to what we're saying. Elmas doesn't really have a position in this Napoli team. He can play as a number 10. He can play in midfield. He can play on the left. He's so versatile, and wherever you play him, it's almost as if it doesn't matter. He's got a style. He likes to dribble in tight spaces. He likes to give little 1-2s and get himself in the box. Now, whether he does that centrally or whether he does that on the side, it doesn't really matter. The team will obviously adapt to his playing style, but for him, he's got a style and he'll play it whether it's on the left or on the center. For example, he's not going to go and sprint down the wing even if he's playing as a left wing. He's going to try to link up with people and play in tight spaces. He's not going to play to something that's not his strength, and that's his strength. He keeps to his strengths, which is something that he's very good at doing, and other players need to also understand that. A lot of players, they try to adapt their style to whatever position the coach might put them in, as opposed to adapting that position to his style. So Elmas is and I think Elmas recently, there was a study done in Switzerland about the most expensive or valuable youngsters, so like under the age of 23, and Elmas is 22, and Elmas was 3rd in Europe. There was only players like Haaland ahead of him. So clearly there's something there that everyone is starting to see, and especially his performances for the national team, where the whole squad kind of revolves around him because he's their best player, him and Pandev. Then he really shines because he gets the ball so often in that team. You guys are having some nice meals. Anthony's saying we ate veal Milanese here, Dom. I told my sister we gotta eat our competition Milan. She called me crazy. That's a good one, man. That's a good shout. Saturday night before the Milan game, I'm gonna have some una cotoletta milanese, and then the next day have some risotto, and we're gonna have hopefully a hat trick of Milan things that we eat up. I want us to eat up Milan on the 19th. 3-0 for us would be a great result. And not unlikely. It'd be nice. They keep asking him about Elmas's role, and he's saying that basically he doesn't really have a role. He just adapts everywhere. They ask him about the fact that yesterday Juventus qualified first in the group for a goal in the 94th minute in the other game, whereas for us in the other game we had a penalty saved, which means that we qualified only second instead of first. And so they ask him, how important is luck in football? Which is a good question. And this is what he says. He says, I'm not sure how much it counts or how important it is. And I'm not going to comment on how other teams are, in terms of luck or bad luck. But I am very lucky. So if the others have luck, at most we tie. which I love that. I love that answer, because him saying that he's very lucky means that what he's trying to say is that he's very lucky, that he feels very lucky to manage a team like Napoli, to manage a team with players like Elmas that you can put anywhere, Di Lorenzo, you can play 100 games a year and he's not going to be tired at all. I think this Napoli team has something special. Other teams would not be able to adapt so well to the injuries that we've had, but not just this season, guys. The injuries that we've had, we've been carrying them since last season. Some of these guys, like Di Lorenzo, like Elmas, they are guys that have had to cover for other people since last season. Last season, we also had a dramatic amount of injuries. And yeah, players like Rahmani, Elmas, Di Lorenzo, they had to step up and play every single game in those periods. And it's all that effort that they've continued to, do week after week for now 2 years. I mean, not many teams have that capacity, and there's not many players out there that have that adaptability and accept to be in that position where you're just, the super sub, and finding yourself ready at any point. Because that's the thing about Elmas, he's just always ready. There's never a moment, there's never a month where he's not ready. He might have a bad game here and there, but the next one he'll be fine. So guys, I think that covers pretty much everything that we could cover for this game. I've set up my Christmas stuff. There we go, Christmas stuff all sorted behind me. So I hope you guys are, enjoying your Christmas things. I actually need to do a better job. I need to put more Christmas stuff, but it's like I don't really see the point because I have to leave anyways. So in about a week's time, I'm going back home. So it's like, what's the point of me setting up all this Christmas stuff if I'm not spending Christmas here, or even like the week before Christmas? So that was my attempt at decorating for Christmas, just that little thing. I don't know why I went on that subject. I just thought I'd show you guys, because why not? Tito Lofea saying, making me hungry now. Like the video, y'all. Yeah, make sure you guys are smashing that like button, guys. It's been a real treat, guys. Spending time after the game, speaking to you guys. It's been real. It's been awesome. We're reaching the end of 2021. It's been a tough year, a good year. We've seen all sorts of things happen with Napoli, the disappointment of Verona, to the ecstasy of being top of the table for a few weeks, to a change of managers. We've lived it all the last year. We really, really have. And you guys are turning up every single time after the games to watch these videos. I'm starting to now get about 1,000 people tuning in, not live, but watching the video at some point after I upload it every single time, which is unreal. So yeah, guys, I really appreciate it. I love you guys, and I hope in 2022 we can build on Napoli's good 2021, because I think overall it's been a good 2021. Yeah, I mean, we had that Verona moment, we had other little things here and there, but it's been good. It's been good. I'll take it. And yeah, I mean, I hope we can continue to do this. I hope you guys don't leave. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's been good, guys. Yeah, almost there. A few more weeks and it's 2022, which is cool. We got 3 more games until Christmas. Let's try to enjoy them. And yeah, until then, until the Empoli game, guys, make sure you have a good week. Stay safe out there. Yeah, Forza, I guess. I'm so bad at ending live streams. But anyways, Forza Napoli sempre, and have a good one, guys. See ya.